name is Hido, and welcome to the Pantheon, where today we're delving into the dungeons, and in this instance the dragon, from Dungeons and Dragons. Or at least the commander set, I don't really understand. But today we're having a look at Vrondiss, Rage of Ancients. 5 mana for a 5/4 Dragon Barbarian. Quite a cool type, I think. And it's got Enrage. Whenever it is dealt damage, you may create a 5/4 red and green Dragon Spirit creature token with, when this creature deals damage, sacrifice it. Whenever you roll one or more dice, you may have Vrondiss deal 1 damage to itself. Now, the whole dice rolling thing, I'm not that big a fan of, you know. It's too random for my tastes. But you can take this deck in that sort of direction, and the pre-built deck has a lot of those cards in it, the cards that you want to be rolling dice with, and there's a couple others in, you know, the main set. But when I'm thinking about this deck, for me, it's all about that Enrage ability, making tokens, dragons everywhere. I love it. If you love me, it's a bit weird, but if you like me at least, please do consider subscribing. I'm going to be making one of these videos for every single legendary creature. It's going to take me a while, but we'll get there in the end. So, without further ado, let's have a look at my top 5 of Vrondiss. In at number 5, we've got Pyrohenia. And this potentially actually is the best card in this deck. 4 mana for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if no creature on the battlefield, sacrifice it. Ah, what a disaster. But you can pay a red, it deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. So this will allow us to trigger our commander, you know, get that Enrage ability, but it also deals damage to our opponents, and any tokens, you know, little tokens on our opponent's field, we're going to wipe them clean. Absolutely phenomenal card. And these sort of subset of cards are all about triggering our commander's Enrage ability. Another one of these, Chandra Flamecaller. 6 mana for a Chandra Planeswalker. +2, create 2 3/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste. Exile at beginning of next end step. Really, really nice ability if you want to sort of clear down a Planeswalker or just get in for a bit of damage. As they do have trample, it's oh no, they don't have trample. I'm a liar. Ignore everything I say. The 0, discard all cards in your hand, then draw that many cards +1. So a nice bit of card advantage. Can do this over and over again. Fill your graveyard, get the cards that you want, and then -X, it deals X damage to each creature. So this triggers, you know, spoilers, there's going to be few other Enrage cards in this deck. Triggers all of our Enrage abilities and also can wipe the board again. Really, really nice. And the fact that it's a Planeswalker, yes, it can get attacked down, but we're going to have a lot of big idiots on the field. So we're going to make the best use out of it. Then we've got Ashland the Pilgrim. 2 mana for a 1/1 Elemental Shaman. Pay 2, put a 1/1 counter on it. If this is the 3rd time this ability is resolved this turn, remove all 1/1 counters from it, and it deals that much damage to each creature and each player. So a nice little board wipe, you can just build it up and then absolutely destroy everything. And because of our commander's size, it'll survive through this. So a nice little board wipe. Speaking of board wipe, Scourge of Care Ridges. 8 mana for a 6/6 with flying. Pay 2, deals 2 damage to each creature without flying. That's going to hit our commander. Trigger Enrage. Bing bang bosh. But then we've got 6 mana. It deals 6 damage to each other creature with flying. So this can just take our absolute game states. You know, people really can rely on flyers for getting in there. You know, them 13/13 Emrakuls. I mean, I have to activate this with 18 mana, but it will kill it eventually. We'll get it. Really, really nice. Then we've got Fiery Confluence. 4 mana for a sorcery. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Deal 1 damage to each creature. Then deal 2 damage to each opponent. Or destroy target artifact. So a nice little board wipe. You know, if you just want to deal 3 damage. But you can deal 1 damage, destroy 2 artifacts. Really, really nice versatility on this card. Absolutely wonderful. And it's going to find a good home in this deck. Then we've got a slightly different one. You know, I wanted to sort of focus on some green cards that you could potentially put in. But, I mean, the green side isn't what we're looking at here, sadly. Heaven is a single green and X for an instant. It deals X damage to each creature with flying. Doesn't hit our commander, but it can wipe the board like I was talking about with the big dragon. But Earth is a double red and X sorcery from Aftermath, so you can only cast it from your graveyard. It deals X damage to each creature without flying, so this can trigger our Commander. Oh, my brain's melting. It's really hot today. Savage Twister is a green and a red and X. It deals X damage to each creature. So again, we can just pump 1 mana into this just to deal 1 to everything. Trigger all of our enraged things. Or it can have versatility. We can use this as a massive board wipe. Very, very nice. Which brings me on to number 4. And at number 4, we've got Carcophodon. Which is, I didn't think this card would ever see, be one of my top cards in anything, but this works fantastically. So, 4 mana for a 2/5 with Enrage. Whenever it's dealt damage, untap target permanent. So, this is specific for Pyrohenia. So, Pyrohenia, a single red to activate, deals 1 damage to everything. Carcophodon, well, we can untap that red mana and use it again. So, potentially, if we make Carcophodon indestructible, so it can't be destroyed, or I wonder if there's some ways to do that in the deck, this can lead to us just killing everyone, including ourselves. Wonderful, because we can just do it over and over, and we're going to be dealing damage to our opponents. Really, really nice, and what a cool Enraged trigger. Then we've got Ranging Raptors, 3 mana for a 2/3 with Enrage. Whenever it is dealt damage, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Wonderful, nice bit of ramp, and works very well with all of the little board wipes and, dealing 1 damage things I was talking about. Then Ripjaw Raptor, 4 mana for a 4/5 with Enrage. Deals, when it's dealt damage, draw a card. Absolutely fantastic. Really nice way to sort of build up your hand again after you've splurged it, getting out everything, all of your ramp and things like that. Apex Altisaur, 9 mana for a 10/10. I wish it was symmetrical, or, it was a 9 mana 9/9. It'd be more aesthetically pleasing. Even its neck is sort of like, if you see this curve, it's like a 9 if you stuck a big pole through it. Anyway, it's a dinosaur, and when it enters the battlefield, it fights up to 1 type creature you don't control, which itself will trigger Enrage, which means when it is dealt damage, it fights up to 1 type creature you don't control. So this can just go and fight absolutely everything on the field. And what if we gave it indestructible? Well, it wouldn't die, would it? You would just wipe the board. Amazing. Absolutely fantastic. Forerunner of the Empire. We're playing a lot of dinosaurs because that's where the Enrage mechanic came from. Is a great card. 4 mana for a 1/3. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a dinosaur card, reveal it, shuffle your library, and put it on top. So you can search for any of these cool cards that we're playing with here. Whenever a dinosaur enters the battlefield under your control, you may have Forerunner of the Empire deal 1 damage to each creature. So another nice way of triggering, getting all those rage abilities. Really, really nice. And it has a wonderful combo with Polyraptor. 8 mana for a 5/5. Wow. The dinosaur and its enrage ability, whenever it is dealt damage, create a token as a copy of Polyraptor. So with Forerunner of the Empire and Polyraptor comes in, let's deal 1 damage to it. Or everything. Then another one comes in, let's deal 1 damage to everything again. So we're going to have 4 copies of it, and then 8, and it's just going to spiral absolutely out of control. It's unstoppable, especially if you give it indestructible. It might be a theme of this deck. I don't know. Is it? Ooh. It is. But this can be fantastic if we're playing things that, enter the battlefield, or trigger on enter the battlefield, which may also be a theme coming up. Woohoo, stay tuned. Marauding Raptor, 2 mana for a 2/3 dinosaur. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. That's nice, reducing all the costs. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals 2 damage to it. If a dinosaur is dealt damage its way, it gets +2% until end of turn. Nice little bit of tribal sort of synergy, and it's going to be dealing damage, enraging. Wonderful. That brings me on to number 3. And at number 3, we've got Anara Wolverine. Familiar. Wolverine. It sounds like a shopping complex. 4 mana for a 4/4 Wolf Beast. As long as it's your turn, commanders you control have indestructible. Effects that say destroy, don't destroy them. A creature with indestructible can't be destroyed by damage. So we can just keep ploughing that damage into our commander, which might become a theme. Theme, indestructible. I just want to destroy things, but I can't. But that's good. So this is a cool way of giving our commander indestructible. We can just keep pinging it for damage, getting tons and tons of tokens, building up that army. Wonderful. Another way of doing this is Stonehoof Chieftain. 8 mana for an 8/8 with Trample and Indestructible. Whenever another creature you control attacks, it gains Trample and Indestructible until end of turn. So all we have to do is get in there with whatever creatures we want to have Indestructible, and then we can just start piling damage onto them. You're dead. And it's just as simple as that, really. It's really, really nice. Then we've got Spearbreaker Behemoth. 7 mana for a 5/5. It has Indestructible. You can pay 1, target creature with power 5 or greater is indestructible as well. So this works with the Polyraptors. It works with our commander, who's a 5/4, I think. I think it's 5/4. Wonderful for a single mana, indestructible. Then all the damage can just get railed onto them. And this guy himself is a big indestructible idiot. Look at that big guy. He's shouting at a tree. Then Eldrazi Monument, 5 mana for an artifact. Creature control gets +1/+1. Have a flying and indestructible. So pretty goddamn good. And at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. If you can't, sacrifice Eldrazi Monument. The sacrificing a creature, not really that worried about it because we're going to have so many tokens being spat out by our commander. Pretty nice and really good. Then we've got a couple of equipments which can give whatever we want indestructible. Shield of Caldra, 4 mana for a 4 equip. Equipped creature is indestructible. And then Sword of Caldra, Shield of Caldra, and Helm of Caldra are indestructible as well. You could actually play the whole Caldra collective if you so desire. Then we've got Darksteel Peter? Who's Peter? 3 mana, indestructible, equipped for 2. Equipped creature has indestructible. Then Hammer of Nazan, 4 mana for a 4 equipment. Whenever it or another equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach the equipment to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has indestructible. Really, really nice. This is a perfect card for searching up equipment. And if you're going to go down this sort of equipment route, playing Godo Bandit Warlord is a really nice include. Fetches whatever you want up. Pretty solid. Which brings me on to number 2. And at number 2, we've got Where Ancients Tread. In every way, I've always thought this is the worst version of this, but because the tokens we're making are 5 power, because our commander has 5 power, it's just so good. 5 mana, which is fitting. For an enchantment, whenever a creature with power 5 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you may have Where Ancients Tread deal 5 damage to target creature or player. So, the cool thing with this is, let's make our commander indestructible. Say we've got that wolf thing on the field. Wolf fear, whatever it was. Where Ancients Tread, our commander comes in. Trigger Where Ancients Tread. Let's deal 5 damage to our commander. Right, we can't destroy it. We'll make a token thanks to Enrage. That comes in. Let's deal 5 damage to our commander. Okay, another token, 5 damage to commander. And we can just make an absolute sea of tokens, like dragons just spilling out of everywhere. It's amazing. And we can do it with a couple of other cards as well. Warstorm Surge, the better version everywhere than this. 6 mana for an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So we can target our commander. Or if we just got an absolutely massive army that's flying in, bunch of enraged triggers, target our opponent. You're dead, son. It's over. GG, get out, leave, get out the pub. And then anyway, if having all these things enter, Impact Tremors, nice little card. Can't do those tricks that we were just talking about, but 2 mana for an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So if we're making tons of tokens, bing, 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 everyone's going to die. Then Terror of the Peaks, brand new card, sort of. 5 mana for a 5/4 with flying. Spells your opponents cast that target Terror of the Peaks cost an additional 3 life to cast. And whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. So again, just keep ploughing the damage onto our commander. You're not rolling any dice, die. That brings me on to number 1. And at number 1, with all those tokens that are 5 power or, our commander or whatever, let's sacrifice them. Let's use them for other things apart from dealing damage to our commander. Greater Good, 4 mana, enchantment, sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to sacrifice creature's power, then discard 3 cards. This can absolutely rip through the deck to get to all the cards that you want to be casting. Wonderful. Similar to this, our tokens are going to die. They have a built-in clause that kills them if they deal damage. Vicious Shadows, 7 mana for an enchantment. They're very enchantment heavy, this deck. Whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from play, you may have Vicious Shadows deal damage to target player equal to the number of cards in that player's hand. So, that's not just our tokens, by the way. That's everyone's creatures. Just wipe the board. You're all dead. Not a very sort of killing sort of theme today. Goblin Sharpshooters. 3 mana for a 1/1 goblin. Doesn't untap during its untap step. Garbage. Let's move on. Whenever a creature dies, untap Goblin Sharpshooter. Okay, so we can sacrifice a token, and you can tap it, deal 1 damage to target creature or player. So this is another way that we can, keep creating the tokens with our commander. Say we've got a token. We sacrifice it, untap Goblin Sharpshooter, ping our commander, make a token, blah, 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 blah. Dead. Need I say more? Stalking Vengeance. 7 mana for a 5/5 with haste. It's an avatar. Whenever another creature you control dies, it deals damage equal to its power to target player. Great. Our tokens are massive. Let's sacrifice them all and just chain gun our opponents to death. Then Thornbite Staff, a card I seem to recommend in every video. It's just incredible. 2 mana for an equipment. Equipped creature has pay 2, tap it. This creature deals 1 damage to target creature or player. And whenever a creature is put into a graveyard and play, untap this creature. So this is a build your own goblin, what was he called? Sharpshooter, that was the one. We can just churn through the deck, ping, 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 ping. Does cost us mana, but it's really good. And then if we're making tons of tokens and dealing damage, really reminds me of Omnath Locus of Rage. It's not exactly what the deck wants to be doing, but it's a similar sort of strategy that we can put in. And the only thing you need to do is play lands. 7 mana for a 5/5 elemental with landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 5/5 elemental creature token. And whenever it or another elemental you control dies, deal 3 damage to any target. So you could point those 3 damages at our commander or at our opponent's faces. It's just a nice sort of backup plan. And because you're in green, you're going to be playing a lot of land-based ramps, so we should get a lot of landfall triggers. And if we're going to have a bunch of tokens dying, let's equip a Skull Clamp to him. 1 mana for an equipment. A quick creature gets +1/-1. That's good enough. We could stop there. But whenever a quick creature dies, draw 2 cards. All right, okay. Got better, not going to lie. So we can draw absolutely tons of cards. It's just really, really good fun overall. Thank you very much for watching. I've enjoyed doing this video. I've talked a lot about dying. I often feel like I'm going to die. I'm becoming unfit, and I need to start exercising. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Bit dark. I'll see you soon. Bye.